Yes,
And
please.
regarding what you said before about the way of the cause and the way of the result, and you said you're in the result path, you're looking at the Buddha, and this is the result. You know the result and you're going there. But we are looking on the Buddha from an ignorant point of view, and even looking at my experience, the way I see today Buddha is not the way I saw Buddha a year ago and maybe not a week ago. And so how we overcome the ignorance, because you are not truly looking at the result, you're looking at the ignorance that you think now is the result.
First of all, I would challenge the very assumption that you see things from ignorance now. This is not true. Why? Because every time that we study something and every time that a concept or an idea is clarified to us, so this is already an enlightened corner in our dark ignorance. So maybe our room is not fully lit, but we can say that this corner is already a little bit of light. That corner, there is another little bit of light. So we cannot say that what we look at is a complete ignorance. It's partial ignorance, and it also depends exactly when. Now, when we're talking about the Buddha and when we study the Dharma, we cannot say already that we are in the ignorant state of mind. We already, in a way, surpassing it. Not fully, not completely, not maybe in a complete satisfied manner, but because 5 minutes before I didn't know what Buddha is, and 5 minutes later I know already a little bit of what Buddha is, I cannot say that my point of view is completely ignorant.
It's a very encouraging attitude. It's a very encouraging attitude.
No, I wanted to add to it that exactly what you say, that we are looking from the result, the path of result, that we are already believing that we understand something, that we see something, that we have the right attitude or motivation. So we don't have to come from the belief that I cannot understand or I cannot know or I am ignorant, because then I stay in the same place. Exactly the magic in the tantric path, what I see in it, that it helps to come out from this self doubt or self depressing of I'm ignorant, I cannot know.
Self-doubt,
Doubt, yeah. But it puts me into a place that I have the right, with my best motivation or my best emotions, to pull myself out from the self-doubt.
First of all, I think that what you say, it's correct. And if I might add to it, ignorance have many aspects. Now, in a very simple way, if I never knew where Tel Aviv is, and somebody told me, and I managed to get, let's say, third way on the direction of Tel Aviv, I cannot say that I'm completely ignorant anymore. I may be ignorant to the 2/3 of the part of the way that I still didn't make, but for the part of the way that I did already, I cannot say that I'm ignorant, because I already went out from the beginning point, from the starting point, and made my way. And this brings me to another thing, is that again in the New Age Buddhism, as I like to call it, study is very easily dismissed, and intellectual study is always underestimated. Like intellect, we can simply throw to some kind of garbage. But the meaning of being enlightened or being awakened, it means that I'm wholly awake it's not that my intellect is somewhere in a dark corner of the room and all the rest of my being is awakened. Being awakened means also that my intellect is awakened too. So intellect has also to have to have its own due or its own share in my practice and study. So this is for most of us, and especially to us who never grew in a Buddhist culture, who Buddhism for them is not part of their history, culture, religion, social structure, and so on. So we cannot really throw things that we don't really have. So when we want to practice the Buddha Dharma, we should have also a good context of the things. For example, many people like to say to their students, sit and you will understand everything. I saw so many people who sat for so many years and their stupidity only deepened and deepened more and more and more and more. Simple as that. And they sat beautifully, 2 hours in a row without a problem, like a beautiful Buddha statue. And then they rose up from the cushion, and not long before 10 minutes, they started to shit around like pigeons. This is what they did. So, what good made to them sitting in meditation? Hours for years. What good? Nothing. Why? Because they didn't have the right context of things. They didn't have direction. And what we do, have to have a direction, have to have a context, have to have a structure which support everything from the sides. I don't know if you saw these fantasy movies where there is these geniuses who build all kinds of strange machines with many wheels and weights. And if we change something in one corner of the machine, it changes the whole structure of the machine in the other corner of the machine. איך אומרים גלגלי שיניים? Cogwheels. So this is exactly how we should study and practice the Dharma. Our vehicle should be like that machine, with many wheels and weights which balancing us, which harmonizing us. So study and practice should be harmonized. And when we can burn the sutras like all the pseudo and neo-Zen like to do, when we have them. When I know already the sutras, then I can unload them. But if I don't know them, what would I unload? I don't have it with me. So I burn the sutras if I don't know what they say. If I know what they say, so this is okay, I know what they say. I even could accomplish things of their instructions. But if I didn't, I have to give a good share to proper study, alongside with practice. And another thing is that it's not enough only to study the sutras and practice meditation. We should apply also the other instructions, for example, sila, which is morality and ethics, and then we should cultivate our parami or paramitas, which is our good qualities. And how do we do that? We do it on daily basis. Every situation we are encountering, and with whomever that we meet. So this is another thing. We are very easily cultivating bad states of mind and bad emotions. For example, if somebody, let's say, hit me today, so I can spend hours in imagining how would I retaliate. Yes, retaliate. And if I'm very mean guy and very complex, so my retaliation can be really mean. If I'm simple, I'm just waiting for the opportunity to ambush somewhere. Yes. But when it comes to cultivating the good, so this is not spontaneous and natural. So because it's not spontaneous and natural, so I will be good when I feel like, I will not be good when I don't feel like. I'll give when I have, when I don't have I will give nothing. And if somebody will wake me up in the middle of the night of asking my help, I simply will turn my back away to the telephone and tell him to get lost somewhere. And this is the way that my life will never change for the good. And nothing, I will grow, nothing really beneficial and wholesome in my life. So all these aspects of practice and study should be harmonized together. I should cultivate my good qualities. I should give a good share of time to study and also to practice sitting meditation. And all together I can make my vehicle go toward awakening and liberation, not only for myself, but also for the benefit of all sentient beings, no matter what school of Buddhism I belong to. And this is why I think that when we study and practice, we cannot pretend or say, slachli, that we are in the same ignorance that we've been before. Because if there is one Shlomo who told you who is the Buddha, even briefly, so now you cannot tell yourself or tell somebody else that you don't know completely who the Buddha is. Because already somebody told you, and you already read. So a little bit of darkness has been shed before the light. So when I look at the Tantra as the path of result, I cannot say that it's from a total ignorance already. It's not a total ignorance anymore. כן, כן, בבקשה, סליחה. נסחפתי קצת, נכון?
לא, 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 להפך, ההסחפויות שלך נראה כזה מחכה.
להפך, הם החלקים היותר טובים אולי של השיחה,
החלקים היותר טובים, כן.
Carrying away is the best parts of my talks, actually.
Yeah.
If I have to keep it formal, so...
There's a quote on New Age Buddhism that's going on the Facebook status. No, I'm joking.
סליחה?
There's a quote on the New Age Buddhism that's going on the Facebook status.
משהו כזה. בבקשה, please.
Then I feel it's around this, like when you say to try to cultivate even good concepts, because for me it was hard hearing this, because like maybe in the teaching that I know, it's you have to let go of concepts altogether, and then being encouraged to cultivate certain kinds of concepts. And then you're saying, okay, at the same time, remember the context of let go of concepts altogether. Does this also take place when you cultivate good concepts? Like Ajahn Chah was saying, first we teach good and bad, then we transcend it. Like, but is it also all the time with bearing in mind that this is only concepts? Like good concepts, bad concepts, whatever, but we're cultivating them.
אוקיי.
זה לא גלום בשני הערוצים האלו של illuminated mind
של הלומינוס אספקט
והאספקט האילומינוס והאספקט
במידה מסוימת, אבל זה כאילו כל הזמן משחק על שני המישורים.
אוקיי.
בדיוק.
Okay. First of all, I want to say this. We have the habit of relating to things as definite. What do I mean by that? We have a certain kind of instruction, and this is our measure, and there is nothing above it, below it, or to the sides. This is like a definite instruction. But this is not correct. Every instruction that we get is always depend on the person, on the condition that he is in, time and place. So for the same question or the same difficulty, a person might get in different times, in different situations, different answers. So in regards to concepts, when from the beginning we don't have the right concepts, so again, like the sutras, what concepts I would like to discard, actually. We have to understand that we are operating not on one level of existence, but on few levels of existence. We always prefer the absolute upon and above the relative. But this is not true. Relative is applicable in the same way that absolute is applicable. And we have to be honest with ourselves and to ask ourselves, do I really stand in the absolute point of view? No. Because if I would be there, then everything that I experience now is transcendent. But it is not. Simply, it is not. So part of the relative aspect that I live in is to have concepts. And then I have to prefer the beneficial concepts and the good concepts in difference from the ones which are destroying me and others. So before I'm discarding all concepts, I should first have to cultivate the good ones, try to avoid the bad ones, and then when I reach a certain level of consciousness, then I can discard all of them. But as long as I'm not there, how practical this instruction is for me? Usually it is not. So we have to understand that every instruction has its own place, time, and situation where it is applicable or where it is not. For example, this is a very famous trap in Buddhism: desire. Why is it a trap? Because all the sophisticated philosophers say that the desiring enlightenment is a hindrance for enlightenment. So, if I'm desiring enlightenment, I cannot be enlightened. If I will stop desiring enlightenment, so probably I already enlightened. But in reality, it's again a bull. Why it's a bull? Because if I'm really enlightened, nothing that somebody will say to me will move my heart. You will blame me, accuse me, try to destroy me. I would be the same peaceful person as if you're telling me that I'm the wondrous guy in the world. My heart will not move. I will be at peace when you are scorning me, and I will be at peace when you are praising me. But if I'm not there, so what exactly I want to discard from me? Good concepts? For example, now I'm not in that position, and my heart is still moving. If you will praise me, I will be very happy. And if you scorn me, I will be very sad and offended. Yes. So words are applicable for me, and concepts are still applicable for me. So the good concept will say, okay, listen to what the guy says. First of all, create space. Second, try to see if what he says to you, it is true or not. And third, keep cultivating your good emotions and good state of minds, even in the face of adversity. This what it should be. Now, if I'm only one step ahead from enlightenment, yes, you are right. I have to discard my desire for enlightenment. But I'm not there. I'm not even close to there. So what I would like to discard? Practically and realistically, none of us even move to drink if we don't have even the slightest desire to drink. If I don't have the slightest desire for enlightenment, I will be never enlightened, and I will be never rise up from my chair to do something in order to be enlightened. And the Buddha himself, he speaks about two different kinds of desire. Mm-hmm. There is the sensuous desire, which is in Pali and Sanskrit, it is kama and raga and and tanha or trishna. Mm-hmm. And there is a noble desire, which is chanda. Why it is noble? Because this is the desire for the sublime. This is the desire for the good, for the ultimate good, for nibbana, for freedom.
It's aspiration, not.
Okay.
But that's how they.
Yes. Again. The modern Buddhism very try to be nice to Western people. Okay. So translating is always very soft with Western people, yes? Not to alarm them that desiring to enlightenment there is something wrong with it. So they translate chanda as aspiration. Mm-hmm. So yes, it might be aspiration because it might be more refined or more subtle. But still... כן. 9:30. כן, אז דקה אחרונה. Okay. So, again, we have to be honest with ourselves and to see Do I benefit from my practice or not? What are the instructions relating to? Where is my position now? What is my situation? Yes, in a certain times I can discard all concepts. In other times, I have to hold fast for the good ones.